Jason's eyes opened to sunlight cutting sharply through the blinds. His head throbbed from staying up too late gaming, and he groaned, stretching his arms above his head. But then he felt something unusual, warm, soft, and heavy pressing down on his chest. Panic surged through him. His eyes flew open, and his heart nearly jumped out of his throat. There she was, Leora, his alien roommate. She was hovering above him, not in the air like he expected, but in a way that left him frozen with shock. Her large, shimmering eyes, which always seemed to glow with an inner light, were wide and terrified. Her tentacle-like hair floated slightly, curling and uncurling with her movements. Her skin glimmered with faint, iridescent colors, shifting between soft pinks and blues, reflecting the morning sun. Jason scrambled backward, almost tumbling off the bed. What are you doing?" he shouted, his voice shaking. Leora froze. She tilted her head slightly, her glowing eyes darting nervously. I didn't mean to startle you," she said, her melodic voice trembling. "I only wanted to." Jason blinked, still in disbelief. You're on top of me, why?" I needed to check you," she whispered, her voice barely audible like a fragile wind. She held out a small device that glowed softly, pulsing with a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. "Your species sometimes forgets to take care of yourselves. I wanted to make sure you were safe while you slept." Jason froze, staring at the small device. "Wait, you climbed on me to check my heartbeat." His voice was a mix of disbelief, confusion, and faint annoyance. "Yes," Leora's cheeks flushed with a faint purple glow, and she lowered herself slightly, trying to appear less threatening. "On my planet, this is how we show care. Physical closeness. It means attention, concern, and protection. I didn't know another way to ensure you were okay." Jason blinked again. He didn't know whether to be angry, embarrassed, or curious. Her words didn't feel threatening, even though the situation definitely was. Somehow there was honesty in her explanation, a strange vulnerability that he didn't expect from an alien species so unlike him. His heart was still racing, but a part of him softened. Leora was trying to connect in the only way she knew. She wasn't invading his privacy to scare him. She was caring, and that thought both unsettled and warmed him. Jason slowly sat up, rubbing his eyes, trying to shake off the lingering panic. Okay, I get it, you mean well, but you can't just," he gestured vaguely, still pointing at her hovering form, "jump on people to show it." Leora nodded quickly. "I understand now," she said softly, almost like a child learning a hard lesson. "I miscalculated. I only wanted to ensure your safety. I thought physical proximity was the safest way." Jason let out a shaky laugh, running a hand over his face. "You really are something else," he muttered. "Nothing like anyone I've ever met." She tilted her head, watching him with those glowing, curious eyes. "I think I like you, Jason. I want to keep you safe, even when I do not understand your world." Jason's chest tightened. He felt a mix of emotions he didn't fully understand: fear, relief, confusion, and an unexpected sense of connection. It was strange to feel cared for by someone or something, so completely alien, so utterly different. And yet there it was, plain and undeniable. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Jason finally exhaled a little shakily. "Well, I guess I should thank you for trying." Leora's glow softened, a gentle wave of warm colors flowing over her skin. "Thank you for understanding. I do not want to frighten you." Jason looked at her, a faint smile forming on his lips. He realized something in that moment. Leora wasn't dangerous. She wasn't a threat. She was just different. And maybe, he thought, being different didn't have to be scary. Maybe it could be something beautiful. The morning sunlight filled the room, casting long shadows across the floor. Jason sat on the edge of his bed, still shaken, but beginning to understand the strange bond forming between him and his alien roommate. That one moment, confusing, startling, and surreal, was only the beginning. Jason spent the rest of that morning trying to shake off the strange feeling that lingered after waking up under Leora. He sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, while she hovered nearby, her glowing form shifting softly with each movement. She didn't speak at first, as if she were unsure how to continue after yesterday's incident. Finally, she floated closer, her soft, melodious voice breaking the silence. "Jason, I want to explain. I did not mean to frighten you." Her eyes shimmered, reflecting the morning light. "I only wanted to make sure you were safe." Jason raised an eyebrow, still a little wary. "Safe? You mean check my heartbeat by hovering on me?" "Yes," she said, nodding quickly. "On my planet, showing care is physical. When someone is precious to us, we are close to them. We hover over them, we touch gently, we ensure they breathe well. It is how we show concern. I did not realize humans might react differently." Jason leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his messy hair. He felt a mixture of disbelief and amazement. No one he had ever known would have cared like that. Not a parent, not a friend, not even a partner. And here was Leora, an alien from another world, willing to risk her own embarrassment just to make sure he was okay. "I still think it's weird," Jason admitted, a small smile tugging at his lips. "But I guess it makes sense in a strange way. You really care." Leora's glow softened, pulsating slowly like she was smiling. "Yes, I care. You are fragile in ways I do not fully understand, but I see it. I want to protect what is precious to me." Jason swallowed. The word precious hit him harder than he expected. It wasn't often someone or something called him precious. And yet, hearing it from her, feeling her sincerity, made his chest tighten with warmth and confusion. I've never had anyone care about me like that," he admitted quietly. "Not even my family. I always thought people just look out for themselves." "You are not alone," Leora said gently. She hovered closer, careful not to invade his personal space, but still close enough that he could feel the faint warmth of her energy. "I will watch over you even if you do not understand. That is what friends or more do on my planet." Jason stared at her. "Friends, huh? You're saying you're my friend?" "Yes," Leora said softly. "More than a roommate, someone who cares beyond expectation. I do not fully understand your species' rules, but my feelings are real. I want to be near you, to ensure you are safe and happy." Jason felt his chest tighten again, this time with an emotion he didn't want to name. There was a part of him that felt ridiculous. He was letting an alien affect him like this, and yet he couldn't deny it. He felt seen, truly seen for the first time. He laughed softly, shaking his head. "Well, I guess that makes you the strangest, most caring friend I've ever had." Leora tilted her head, her eyes glowing faintly brighter. "Strain? Yes. Caring? Yes. I do not mind being strange if it means I can be here for you." Jason's heart ached at the simplicity of her words. She didn't understand human social rules, yet she understood something deeper. Something that didn't need explanations or gestures. She just knew, and she just cared. For the rest of the day, they moved carefully around each other. Leora hovered near, offering small gestures, bringing him coffee, adjusting the blinds so the sunlight wasn't too harsh, and occasionally placing her glowing hand near him to comfort without touching directly. Jason found himself smiling more than he had in weeks. By evening, he realized something he hadn't admitted even to himself. He was starting to trust her. Not just tolerate her strangeness, not just accept her alien ways, but trust her truly. He understood that she would be there, watching, caring, and never letting harm come his way, even in ways humans couldn't always see or understand. Jason leaned back in his chair, watching her shimmer in the soft light of the apartment. "You know, Leora," he said quietly, "maybe being different isn't so bad after all." Leora's glow flickered warmly. "Different, yes, but perhaps that is how we find connection. In difference, we see what truly matters." And in that small apartment between human and alien, a fragile but undeniable bond began to form. One built on care, trust, and the kind of understanding that didn't need words. Days passed, and Jason began to notice small changes in himself. He had grown used to Leora's presence, her glowing form, the way she floated carefully around the apartment, and the subtle warmth she radiated whenever she was near. It was strange, almost magical, how her presence could make even the most ordinary day feel lighter. Leora, for her part, seemed to be learning Earth customs. She had started knocking on Jason's bedroom door before entering, even though her glowing eyes could see through walls. She mimicked human expressions awkwardly, tilting her head or raising a hand when she wanted to show curiosity. Jason found it both hilarious and endearing. One morning he found her perched on the edge of the couch, glowing softly, watching him as he cooked breakfast. "Why do you always watch me when I cook?" he asked, trying to sound stern but failing to hide the smile creeping onto his face. I like to observe," Leora said, her voice gentle. "It is a way for me to connect with you. On my planet, sharing moments, even small ones, is a form of bonding. I want to know you better." Jason paused, spatula in hand, and realized he didn't mind. In fact, he found himself talking to her as if she were human. "Well, you're welcome to watch, just don't judge my cooking. I'm warning you." Leora tilted her head. "I do not judge, I only learn." Her glowing skin shimmered softly. "And I enjoy being near you, it makes me calm." Jason's chest tightened. Her words, simple as they were, carried sincerity and care unlike anything he had ever experienced. He had friends, sure, but no one had ever expressed interest in his life so fully, so purely. Leora's care wasn't cautious or conditional. It was direct, strange, and beautiful. As the week continued, their routines slowly intertwined. Jason would come home from work, and Leora would greet him with a soft hum and a shimmer of light. She would float near him while he showered, waiting outside the bathroom, her eyes glowing softly in the dim hallway. It made him feel safe, even if it was unusual. One night, as they sat on the small balcony of their apartment, staring at the city lights, Jason asked, "Do you ever get lonely?" Leora's glow dimmed slightly, almost imperceptibly. "Sometimes. My kind, we are not used to long distances from those we care for, but being here near you, I feel less lonely." Jason felt a lump in his throat. "I guess I've been lonely too, I just never knew it until now." He looked at her glowing eyes, so different from human eyes, yet so full of emotion. "It's weird, you're from another planet, and yet I feel like I've known you forever." Leora's glow shifted, pulsing gently in response. "Time does not always define connection. Perhaps what matters is the care we give and receive." Jason nodded, understanding more than words could say. He reached out hesitantly, brushing a hand near her shimmering tentacle hair. She didn't recoil. Instead, she let the faint touch linger, as if acknowledging his trust. That night, Jason slept better than he had in weeks. He felt a strange peace knowing she was near, watching over him, not in a frightening way, but in a way that made him feel protected. He realized that her care wasn't intrusive, it was intentional. Over the next few days, he started noticing small gestures he hadn't seen before. Leora would adjust the temperature when he was too cold or too hot. She would quietly tidy up things he had left scattered. She even learned how to make a simple cup of tea. Though the taste was strange, it was the thought that mattered. One afternoon, as they both relaxed in the living room, Jason turned to her. "You know, you're kind of amazing, Leora. I mean, you're from another world, but somehow, you get me. Better than anyone else ever has." Leora's glow brightened, her voice soft and warm. "I do not know why I feel this way. Perhaps it is instinct. Perhaps I only know that I care for you, Jason. You are precious to me." Jason's heart skipped, the word precious again. He realized then that he didn't want to be just roommates anymore, not that he could say it out loud yet. But in his chest, something shifted, something deep and tender. In the strange, quiet moments of the day, between laughter, shared meals, and soft conversations, a bond had formed. It was a bond neither human nor alien fully understood, but it was real. And Jason knew that, for better or worse, his life had changed forever. Jason returned home from work one evening, tired and restless. The city streets were noisy, cars honking in the distance, lights flashing in a chaotic rhythm. Normally, he would have found comfort in the soft glow of their apartment and Leora's presence. But tonight, something felt off. The apartment was quieter than usual. Leora wasn't there to greet him. He frowned, dropping his bag on the floor and calling out, "Leora, you here?" No answer. A chill ran down his spine. Her room was dark, the soft glow of her body absent. Hesitantly, he approached the door and knocked. Leora, he said, voice trembling slightly. The door creaked open and his heart sank. Inside, she sat on the floor, hugging her knees. Her glow was dim and flickering, almost like a dying ember. The small device she always carried was pressed to her chest. Tears, tiny shimmering streaks, traced patterns on her skin. She didn't notice him at first, lost in her own thoughts. Leora, what's wrong? Jason asked softly, stepping closer. His concern overrode his exhaustion. She looked up, her luminous eyes filled with worry and shame. I fear that I am hurting you, Jason, she whispered. I tried to help, to care, but perhaps my ways are too strange. I do not understand humans fully, and maybe I am not suited to be near you. Jason's chest tightened. He knelt beside her, unsure of what to say. Her voice, usually melodic and confident, was trembling. You're not hurting me, he said gently. You care, and that's not wrong, that's beautiful. Leora shook her head slowly. But I frighten you sometimes. I am not like you. My instincts are different. My culture, my ways, they may overwhelm you. Perhaps I am a burden. Jason reached out, carefully brushing his hand near hers without touching her. You're not a burden. You've shown me care in ways I never knew I needed. You make me feel safe. And for the first time, I feel understood by someone, even if it's strange, even if it's not like the world I know. She blinked, the faint glow of her tears mixing with the light from the window. You forgive me? She asked, her voice trembling. Jason smiled softly, though his heart still ached seeing her like this. I don't need to forgive. You didn't do anything wrong. You only acted out of concern. You care, Leora. That's enough. Her glow brightened slightly, but a flicker of doubt remained. I worry. Every day. I fear that in trying to care, I may cross a boundary I do not understand. On my planet, care is shown through closeness, but I cannot predict how your kind reacts. Jason placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Leora, it's okay. You've made mistakes, sure, but I've made plenty too. That's how we learn each other. That's how we grow together. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be you. For a moment, silence filled the room. Leora's glow flickered, then softened into a gentle, steady light. She exhaled slowly, a mixture of relief and lingering fear. I will try. I will learn. I will be careful. But my feelings for you, Jason, are real. I cannot ignore them. Jason's chest tightened again. Her words struck something deep inside him, a combination of fear, admiration, and an emotion he had not yet named. I feel the same, he admitted quietly. Even if I don't fully understand it, I care about you too, and I don't want distance between us. Not now, not ever. Leora's glow pulsed warmly. She floated closer, cautiously, her tentacle-like hair brushing softly against his arm. Then, perhaps we can learn together, slowly, carefully, without fear. Jason nodded, feeling a strange sense of peace amidst the tension. They were different, worlds apart in origin and instinct. But that difference didn't have to tear them apart. In fact, it might be the very thing that would make their bond stronger. That night, Jason lay in bed, watching the soft glow of Leora hovering nearby. For the first time, he realized that fear and doubt could exist alongside trust and care, and that even in moments of uncertainty, connection, real, emotional, and powerful, could grow between human and alien. The next morning, Jason woke up to a quiet apartment. Leora's glow filled the room, soft and steady, hovering near the kitchen. She was preparing something, though he wasn't sure what. As he rubbed the sleep from his eyes, he realized that the air felt lighter than before, less tense than it had the previous night. Good morning, he said cautiously, sitting up on the bed. Leora turned toward him, her eyes shimmering with warmth. Good morning, Jason. I made tea. She floated closer, holding a small cup that glowed faintly in her hands. I thought you might like it. Jason smiled, still sleepy. Thanks, Leora, that's thoughtful. She tilted her head. I want to understand humans, your habits, your comfort. I want to help, not disturb. Jason stood and stretched, feeling the morning sun on his skin. For a moment, he just watched her move, the soft glow of her body reflecting off the walls. She looked fragile, yet strong in her own alien way, and for the first time he understood that care could be expressed in many forms. Not all of them made sense, but they were meaningful. Leora, he said after a pause, I know you worry about crossing boundaries or doing things the wrong way. But you haven't done anything wrong. You care. That's all that matters to me. Her eyes widened and the glow around her body brightened slightly. You forgive me? She asked, voice trembling. Jason shook his head gently. There's nothing to forgive. I appreciate you. Even when I don't fully understand your ways, I know your intentions are good. You make me feel safe, and I like that. Leora floated closer, her eyes meeting his. Safe, she repeated, as if tasting the word for the first time. I want you to always feel safe, even if it means I must learn your ways slowly. I will not harm you. Jason chuckled softly, a little awkwardly. I never thought I'd hear an alien roommate say that to me, but thank you, Leora. That actually means a lot. For the rest of the morning, they moved around the apartment in quiet companionship. Jason made breakfast while Leora hovered nearby, watching, learning, and occasionally offering helpful tips about adjusting the stove or lighting. Her curiosity was gentle, never overbearing. It was a balance he hadn't realized he wanted, and it warmed him in a way he hadn't expected. As the day passed, Jason realized that the fear he had felt when waking to Leora hovering over him was gone. Instead, he felt trust. He understood her intentions were genuine, and he found himself caring for her in return. It was strange, he thought, to feel this connection with someone so different, someone not even human, and yet it felt completely natural. In the late afternoon, they sat together on the couch. Jason sipped his tea while Leora hovered close, her glow casting soft light across the room. He found himself speaking about things he had never told anyone, his worries, his dreams, his loneliness. And she listened, truly listened. You know, he said finally, I've never had anyone care about me like this. Not my friends, not my family, never like you. Leora's glow pulsed gently. That means much to me. I care because I see you, not just your actions, but who you are inside. You are fragile, yes, but also strong, resilient, precious. Jason felt his chest tighten. Precious, I'm not sure I've ever been called that before, thank you. She hovered closer, the warmth of her presence brushing against him in a comforting way. I want to protect what is precious to me, even if I do not fully understand it. I cannot help it. You matter to me. Jason's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to say more, to tell her he felt the same, but the words caught in his throat. Instead, he simply nodded, letting the silence between them speak. Sometimes words weren't needed. Sometimes care itself, quiet, constant, undeniable, was enough. For the first time in weeks, Jason felt peace. Leora wasn't just an alien roommate. She was someone who saw him, truly saw him, and in return he was beginning to see her, not as strange or alien, but as someone extraordinary, someone who had become an unexpected part of his life. Days turned into weeks, and life in the small apartment settled into a quiet rhythm. Jason had grown used to Leora's presence, her soft glow, her gentle hum, and the subtle warmth that seemed to follow her wherever she went. He found comfort in her company, a sense of safety that he had never experienced before. Leora, for her part, seemed more confident around him. She had learned how to respect boundaries, understanding when to give space and when closeness was welcome. But she never stopped showing care. She would hover near him while he cooked, adjusting the heat of the stove before he noticed, or softly moving objects that might trip him. She had even learned to brew tea in the way he liked it, strong, slightly bitter, with a touch of sugar. It was strange, almost magical, to see an alien adapting to human life with such patience and devotion. One evening, Jason returned from work to find Leora on the balcony, watching the sunset. The sky was painted in shades of orange and purple, and the soft city lights below shimmered like tiny stars. She turned her glowing eyes toward him as he stepped onto the balcony. Jason, she said softly, I wanted to thank you for patience, for trust, for letting me be close to you without fear. I understand now more than before. Humans are fragile, yes, but you are also strong, resilient, beautiful. Jason felt a lump in his throat. He walked closer and leaned on the railing beside her. You've taught me something too, Leora, he said quietly. That care doesn't always look the way we expect. It doesn't need to follow rules. Sometimes it's just about being there for someone, even in small ways. She tilted her head, her glow pulsing gently. Yes, I have learned that. On my planet, care is shown through proximity, through touch. But with you, I have learned that understanding, patience, and observation are also ways to protect and cherish someone. Jason smiled softly, a warmth spreading through his chest. I never thought I'd feel this way about anyone, and yet with you it feels natural, like I've known you longer than I really have. Leora's glow brightened slightly, and she floated closer, careful not to invade his space. Time is not always what defines connection. What matters is the bond we create, the trust we build. I am glad we have that, Jason. He reached out tentatively, brushing a hand near hers. She did not recoil. Instead, she allowed the gesture, a silent acknowledgement of their trust. I trust you, Leora, he said softly. And I want you to trust me too. No matter what happens, I want us to be honest with each other, always. I will try, she said, her voice gentle but certain. I will not let fear dictate my actions. I want to learn and I want to protect what is precious to me. You are precious, Jason. Her words struck him like a bolt of light. He felt a mixture of awe, gratitude, and a strange, unnameable warmth deep in his chest. For the first time, he understood that connection could exist beyond species, beyond culture, beyond the rules he had always known. Trust, care, and understanding could bridge even the widest gaps. They stood together on the balcony, watching the sun dip below the horizon. In the quiet that followed, Jason realized that he had found something he didn't even know he was searching for. Someone who truly cared. Someone who saw him for who he was. Someone who could make him feel safe without words. Leora floated closer, her glow intertwining with the fading sunlight. Jason, I am grateful, she said softly. For your patience, your understanding, your kindness. I do not take it for granted. Jason smiled, a small, genuine smile that reached his eyes. Neither do I, Leora. Neither do I. You've changed the way I see everything. Not just you, but myself, too. For the first time, they shared a quiet moment of understanding, a bond strengthened not just by proximity or care, but by trust, patience, and the willingness to learn from each other. They were different, human and alien, but in that difference they had found something powerful, a connection that transcended fear, confusion, and uncertainty. And in that simple, quiet evening, with the city lights sparkling below and the soft glow of Leora beside him, Jason realized that he was not just living with an alien roommate. He was living with someone extraordinary, someone who had taught him that care, trust, and understanding could overcome even the greatest divides. The apartment was quiet that evening. The soft hum of the city outside was the only sound, blending with the gentle glow of Leora's body floating near the window. Jason sat on the couch, staring at the fading light of the sky, his thoughts heavy but calm. He had learned so much in the past weeks, about Leora, about her ways, and about himself. And yet, despite all the lessons, one thing remained simple and undeniable. He cared for her. Leora hovered closer, her glow soft but steady, a warm pulse of light in the dim room. Jason, she said softly, I have been thinking about how fragile humans are, but now I see fragile does not mean weak, it means precious. And you are precious to me. Jason's chest tightened. Her words were simple, but they carried weight he had never expected. He reached out slowly, brushing a hand against hers, feeling a warmth that was more than just physical. And you, Leora, you are extraordinary, he whispered. I don't know how to put it into words, but I feel lucky. Lucky to know you, lucky to have you in my life. Her glowing eyes softened, and she floated even closer, her energy radiating calm and trust. I feel the same, Jason. Even if I cannot fully understand your world, even if my ways seem strange, I will always care for you. I want to protect you, and I hope I never frighten you again. Jason smiled faintly, a tear slipping down his cheek. You don't frighten me anymore, he said, voice catching slightly. Not in the way I used to fear. You've changed everything. You've made me feel safe, seen, and understood. And I want to be here for you too, Leora, always. For a long moment, they just floated there, human and alien, two beings from different worlds sharing the same space, the same trust, the same bond. It was strange, yes, unthinkable to anyone else. But to them, it felt natural, right, and true. Leora tilted her head, glowing softly. Jason, I think I understand now. Being near someone, caring for them, it is not about rules or boundaries alone. It is about connection, trust, and respect. And you have given me all of that. I am grateful. Jason felt warmth swell in his chest. I am grateful too, he said quietly. For you, for this us, even if we are different, even if no one else could ever understand. A silence fell over them, but it was a comfortable silence, filled with unspoken words, shared emotions, and a quiet acknowledgement that they had found something rare and precious. Jason realized then that Leora's alien ways, the hovering, the glowing, the strange instincts, were not obstacles. They were a bridge, a way to see care and love in its purest form. That night, Jason lay in bed, Leora floating nearby, her glow gentle and protective. He felt a peace he had never known before. No fear, no doubt, just trust and connection. He closed his eyes and whispered softly, "Thank you, Leora, for everything." Her voice, soft and melodic, responded even as she hovered silently. "Thank you, Jason, for letting me care, for trusting me, for being human yet understanding me." And in that quiet room, human and alien shared a bond that was stronger than fear, stronger than difference. It was a bond of trust, of care, and of something deeper, something that transcended species and worlds. In each other, they had found a home. Jason knew one thing clearly: he would never be the same again. His life had been touched by something extraordinary, something impossible to explain fully but undeniably real. And in that touch, he had discovered the power of care, trust, and connection. As the city lights twinkled outside the window, Jason reached out, letting his hand hover near hers. Leora's glow shifted softly to meet his. They didn't speak anymore. Words weren't needed. In the quiet, in the shared warmth, in the gentle rhythm of their presence, they had found something extraordinary. A human and an alien, worlds apart in every way, yet closer than anyone could imagine. And in that closeness, in that shared understanding, they had discovered something timeless. That care, trust, and love could bridge even the vastest distances. And for Jason and Leora, that was enough.